surprised, for Jews refuse to have anything to do with Samaritans. She said to Jesus, "You are a Jew, and I'm a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" Jesus replied, "If you only knew the gift of God that God has for you and who you are speaking to, you would ask me, and I would give you living water. But sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket," she said, "and this well is very deep. Where would you get this living water? And besides, do you think that you're greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us this well? How can you offer better water than he and his sons and his animals enjoyed?" Jesus replied, "Anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again. But those who drink the water I give will never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life." "Please, sir," the woman said, "give me this water. Then I'll never be thirsty again, and I won't have to come here to get water." And Jesus says, "Go get your husband." And she says, "I don't have a husband." Let's pray together. Father God, I just pray that today, as we open up your word and we hear the words that you spoke through these men, that they would rip open our souls and change our hearts. Because I believe that we as Christians sometimes see people differently than you do. And as we sang in this song earlier, God, we pray that you open the eyes of our heart, that we might see people like you see people, that we might act around people like you acted around people, that we might speak to people as you spoke to people. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. You guys can be seated. Thanks for standing with me. So there's a story starts, that Jesus is walking along the road. He gets to this well. He's thirsty. It's the middle of the day. And there's this woman at the well. You know the story. And the strange thing is, it's the middle of the day, and it's hot like it is here in the summer, right? And why would you go out and get water in the middle of the day? You wouldn't, but we find out a little bit later this woman has a bit of a reputation. She's known in her community. She's had 5 husbands, and she's living with a guy now who's not her husband. She's known around the community. Everybody knows exactly who she is and exactly what she's done. And the reason I believe she's at that well at this time of the day is she didn't want to be around people. She didn't want to be talked about or judged or noticed or maybe even shunned. What would our reaction to someone like that be? We live here in Las Vegas, and there's people like this in Las Vegas. When you go down to the Strip, again, remember, culturally, we may have a difference, okay? When you go down to the Strip at night, and you see the trucks driving around that say girls, 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 you seen those trucks?
Yeah.
And then you see there's people handing out these cards, and you see that there's women walking around wearing very little clothes. What is our reaction? How do we speak to them? How do we treat them? I think that's maybe what we need to think about, because Jesus' reaction was different than ours might have been.
Yeah.
The first thing Jesus says is, "Hey, can I have a drink?" This woman is a Jew, right? Now, we think that there's racial problems here in the United States. Jews and Samaritans hated each other, right? Jews thought of Samaritans as half-breeds, as less than human. And so, this is a big deal when he's even talking to a Samaritan. And she's like, you're a Jew, why are you talking to me? And you're a man. Why are you talking to me? A man shouldn't be talking to a woman in the middle of the day. That's not a good thing. And I have this reputation. But he asked her for a drink. And Jesus, when he responds to her, his default, his natural reaction to her was love. Now, I'm weird. I'm a strange guy, okay? And sometimes I get these thoughts in my head when I'm reading the Bible, and I go, and I think things that maybe aren't written there, but I start to imagine a little bit. And my imagination kind of runs away here, and I wondered if she had never really been loved. She'd been with several men. She'd been married to several men, but was that really love? I wonder if she'd ever experienced love like this. He asked her, he says, "Can I have a drink?" And she says, "Why are you a Jew asking me, a woman with a reputation? Why are you asking me for a drink?" And he says, if you knew who I was, you would ask me for a drink and I would give you living water. And this whole conversation begins about living water and this better water that I have to offer that you don't have now. And she says what? Give me that water. Now here's the strange thing. I want you to see what Jesus doesn't do. We as Christians, this is how we might react. We might see this woman, know this, kind of to figure out what's going on, and say, hey, what are you doing with your life? You're a mess, lady. You need to stop it. Jesus doesn't say anything like that. Jesus says, can I have a drink? And he offers her something better than what she's got. He offers her a better way. That's what Jesus always does. He's always offering something better. He says, I have better water. And so what happens with the story is he doesn't condemn her, he doesn't judge her, he doesn't shun her, he doesn't walk away. He says, hey, I love you, and I have something better to offer you. And she says, I want that. And then, and only then, after he says, I need that, he brings up her sin. We often think that what we're supposed to do is bring people's sin up first. And we forget that it's God's job to convict and to convince and to draw. And it's maybe not our job to point our fingers at people. And boy, would it be easy here in Las Vegas to walk around doing this all day? No. It would be. It would be super easy. This is a crazy place we live in, right? And there's all kinds of stuff going on, and we might find it very easy to walk around and pointing our fingers at people. But that's not what Jesus did. He said, let me offer you something different. Let me offer you something better. And he offers her love. And she says, I want that. And now here's the crazy thing. You know the rest of the story? She goes back to her village. And she says, let me tell you about a man who knows everything I've ever done. And many in her village come to know Christ. If he had a different reaction to her, that town wouldn't have had an experience with Jesus. We never know who we're talking to, what God's going to do. We never know what's next. So that's the first story. Jesus offers a better way to this woman. He says, he offers new water. Her way led to shame. Jesus' way was better. It was a full, abundant water with the whole community. Our default is to ignore, to shun, to treat badly. But what Jesus offered was a new way. So let's open up our Bibles now to Luke chapter 19, verse 1. You don't have to stand up this time. I'm just going to read it to you really quickly. This is one of my favorite stories in the Bible. I remember this from when I was a kid. We would sing a song about it in Sunday school. You probably didn't sing the same song as I did. And if you did, it sounded different. Okay? But it went, Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree to see what he could see. You heard that song? Yeah. Zacchaeus was a wee little man. Okay, he was a wee little. I'm not really even sure what wee means, but I think it means short. He was a small man. So let's read this. It says, Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. By the way, both of these stories start out with Jesus just kind of walking around, doing his thing, being who he is. And every time it seems he runs into someone who needs love, needs something new. So Jesus is walking around in Jericho, made his way through the town. There was a man there named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector in the region, and he became very rich. He tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short. He was a wee little man to see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed up a sycamore tree beside the road, for Jesus was going to pass that way. When Jesus came by, he looked at Zacchaeus and called his name, Zacchaeus, quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today. Zacchaeus quickly climbed down and took Jesus to his house in great excitement and joy. But the people were displeased. He had gone to be the guest of a notorious sinner. They grumbled. Meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood before the Lord and said, I will give half my wealth to the poor. Lord, and if I have cheated people on their taxes, I will give them 4 times as much. Jesus responded, salvation has come to this home today, for this man has shown himself to be a true son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save those who were lost. So Zacchaeus,